Thank you. Good evening. We're here to present our uh, end of the year accomplishments and conduct our exit strategy for the 2008 Big Things Fantasy Football League year. Firstly, I'd like to end on a good note. Um, though we did suffer a defeat today, I'd like to start off by acknowledging the offensive, defensive, and offensive MVP and defensive MVP, as well as the unsung hero. Um, and first, I'll start off with the fact that we did go deep in the draft, and this person is accredited to um, deep recruiting that went back last year, probably in the middle of October, November time frame, when I was told that next year would we definitely move to a fantasy or a keeper status. Right then and there, I was looking deep as who could actually help make a difference. Throughout games in the season, maybe not lead the team in scoring, but just make a difference. And from last year's bowl games in college to the NFL scouting combine to draft to minicamp, Chris Johnson definitely made that impact, and a little bit more, I definitely can say. He was heavily touted, heavily recruited from this team and this organization from the top down throughout his last year in college, and we knew that he definitely would be able to make an impact running the ball inside, screens and quick hits on the outside, as well as kickoff returns and punt returns. So Chris Johnson definitely would have been or is my MVP on offense. He showed up game in and game out, went over 1,000 yards in the fantasy season. I couldn't ask for more. As far as the defense, we drafted San Diego and we drafted Baltimore's defense. San Diego we had faith in with the demise of Sean Merriman, but it didn't actually pan out the way we wanted to. So we decided to keep them because we thought it would prove good value later on with the weak schedule that San Diego had, and got rid of Baltimore. That ended up being a mistake because we definitely were searching for a defense in a league that has defensive scoring problems, which is duly noted that this league does have problems scoring the defense and it needs defensive restructure. But of course, I mean, I'm only telling you. I'm not in charge of the league or anything. But we did pick up Atlanta and Arizona later on, and Arizona definitely fulfilled that status as a defensive MVP. Throughout the season, especially towards the middle, we had our heartaches in key positions, but we only had one quarterback. We had Romo, we had McNabb, and though Romo didn't actually come through in a strong playoff contention game, he still proved to be our unsung hero. If I would have lost, I had no doubts that I felt more comfortable with a loss with Tony Romo behind center than without Tony Romo behind center. If I lose without Tony Romo, then that what if factor takes place. If I lose with Tony Romo, then I just lost. I got beat. So Tony Romo definitely is the unsung hero. You'd rather lose with him, and you'd rather not lose without him. He's just that important. Next year, what we plan on doing is definitely maintaining the same strategy, but remaining a little bit more patient. We're looking at a 6 or 7, or 5, 6, or 7 order in the draft, and our minds, with management and ownership, is unset on what we'll do as far as a quarterback. Definitely look to keep Chris Johnson. He definitely is a Gibsonian, but we don't know if we'll settle on McNabb and go wide receiver, wide receiver, wide receiver, wide receiver, or pick up another quarterback and then go wide receiver, wide receiver, wide receiver, wide receiver. So we're unsure, but we definitely do feel like the wide receiver position is a very important position to have in this league. They're on the field more than running backs. This season, as I look at the roster between Chester Taylor found his way back, Deshaun Jackson, good rookie campaign, and actually did exactly what I expected him to do. But there were a lot of disappointments. Reggie Wayne, Bernard Berrian, just to name a couple. Bernard Berrian, couldn't do anything because his quarterback went down a couple of times. But Reggie Wayne definitely was supposed to carry this team with one of the best quarterbacks in NFL history, and actually did not show up week in and week out. He let teams shut him down with weaker opponents. Though coverages was rolled his way, teams like Cincinnati, San Diego, Detroit, Cleveland, those teams shut him down. New England secondary didn't really have great people that could have stopped him, but by Reggie Wayne not being more not being more vocal, demanding that the ball be thrown his way, he actually cost himself. And that type of playing and that type of teamwork does not help you to become a Gibsonian and a strong Gibsonian. So he probably more than likely will not be coming back wearing the green and yellow. He was a huge disappointment from a huge talent. All that talent out there just decided not to get it used. As far as Bernard Berrian, number one option, but Minnesota without a quarterback is definitely a struggle. It's a struggle. Berrian showed up in some games, but he could only do what he could do. And that pretty much sums it. So we'll just take it from here. We got the bowl games coming up, and then after the bowl games, the combine, then after the combine, the draft. Camps start after that, mini camps, summer camp, and then we're back to the keepers, and then we're back to the BTFL draft. Fantasy football doesn't stop here. It's a 24-hour process. We're always paying attention to who's doing what, who's taking what classes, who seems to be smarter than what, who's buying 16-year-olds alcohol. We also keep it in tune that Michael Vick will be released from prison in July. So we keep these things at the forefront of our operation, because success isn't given in this league. It's earned, and you have to earn it all year round. You just can't come in and buy a couple of magazines 2 days before the draft and read up and say, okay, I'm gonna go out there and do what I do, because it won't be good enough. But we are glad to say at least we made the playoffs. Again, it's 500 year, and we're looking to improve on that. Definitely can rebuild, and hopefully the league will take some measures and some defensive structuring, and also the structuring of allowing teams to be under 500 in the playoffs. Stuff like that just doesn't make any sense. So we're looking to build. We still have a great team, great organization, great atmosphere. What can you do? Everybody would love to be a Gibsonian at this point. Thank you. See you next year.